conversation, right? We're talking about the 5 reasons you will hate Africa. Right now, we are on the, I need to get my screen back, let them have it portion, where we talk about how the infatuation and obsession of American culture, movements, and traditions is widely affecting Africa. It's to a point too where it's really affecting people, and you even think to yourself, you shouldn't even be thinking like this. I mean, for instance, right? I went to a few countries in Africa where they don't have child support, or it's not like widely used like that. And I had some women tell me, like, oh, I think I'm just going to put my baby daddy on child support. And I'm thinking to myself, well, clearly you didn't just pull this out your bottom. You clearly said this because maybe you heard it from somewhere, right? Who does that sound like, audience? I'm going to put my baby daddy on child support. Who does that sound like? Who does that sound like? Let's leave it in the comments. Let's see. I need y'all to be active in these comments, y'all. And at any time, if you guys would like to call into the show, you have a critique or you want to debate anything I'm saying, I'm open to any of the smoke. I want you to know I'm well researched, I'm well traveled, so I'm open to any of it. But let me know in the comments, who does that sound like? I think I'm gonna put my baby daddy on child support. Who does that sound like? And you think to yourself, it's so unfortunate that this American media has breached into the societies inside of Africa, because you think to yourself, man, it's like, you're a great woman. I look at some of these African women, I'm like, you're a great woman. There's no reason you should be talking like this. You don't need to be talking like this. You're a great woman. You come from a 2-parent household. You've been taken care of. Your man's not that bad. When they tell you the stories of their men, you're like, oh, this wasn't really the worst, thing ever. Yeah, I mean, you guys could have worked that out, like, especially now that there's an offspring involved. You shouldn't be so quick to try to break up a family, but this is what happens when you have American culture and westernized beliefs and mindsets poisoning and toxifying your country. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, guys. We have a fool that has just came into the chat. Shout out to Pepper, our first fool of the day. Shout out to Pepper. Let's go ahead and speak with Pepper, shall we? Let's go ahead and speak with Pepper. Now, Pepper, you have to understand something, right? Because Pepper comes here and says, Africa is not a country. Interesting, you fool. Now, not at one time did I call Africa a country. And maybe if I did, we know I'm well traveled. So, of course, I know that going to different countries, there's a visa, which means that you have to go to different countries. I've said it on plenty of my videos. But you see, these kind of people, they come into our live streams and they try to disrupt. Some would call them disruptors, some would call them fools, some would call them bugs. But for this person, Pepper, what I'm going to call him is a dusty Cretan creature. Now, the thing about these people like Pepper, right? A dusty Cretan creature. The thing about people like this, right? They're miserable. Now, we're talking about some important topics, right? Let's say I slipped and called Africa a country, which I did, and I always call it a continent. But let's say I did slip up, right? This fool decided to talk about this instead of talking about the major issue inside of a lot of these African countries. This fool says Africa is not a continent. It's not a country. It's a continent, right? You got to think to yourself about these dusty Cretan creatures. What would make somebody say something like that? Don't you see what we're talking about? We're trying to make sure that Africa can stay Africa and it can be a place that will be great for the melanated public. But we have fools like this, distractors, that come into our videos to go ahead and spread confusion. They try to get you off your topic, try to shake you up. Listen, I got a lot of different little names I'm going to call people like this. I got the petty panini peasant. Give me attention. Give me attention. This is who Pepper is, y'all. This is who Pepper is. Give me attention. You're listening to what I'm saying, but you're not listening at the same time, right? This fool's going to come in here and say, oh, it's not a country. Africa's not a country. When did I say Africa was a country? What the? And my biggest thing is, even if I did slip up like that, right? Are we gonna just not give any value to the important information I'm saying about Africa? This is why there's a lot of progress not being made in a lot of African countries. Yeah, this is why, because you have these fools like this that instead of focusing on how they're trying to break up the nuclear family inside of a lot of these African households, how America's paying millions of dollars for certain agendas to be pushed into these African countries, how a lot of the people are forgetting about their traditions, about certain things about family, how they're starting to do these weird social media activities on these African TikTok platforms and stuff, instead of focusing on making sure Africa is for the Africans and making sure these infiltrators don't get their disgusting poison into the countries to affect the minds of the people and the youth. This petty panini peasant named Pepper says that Africa is not a country. What a fool. What a fool. Isn't that sad, guys? The dusty Cretan creature strikes again. Boy, oh boy, it's sad, guys. It's sad. It sure is sad, man. It sure is sad. Okay, well, we won't be too distracted by the dusty Cretan creature, or also known as the petty panini peasant. I'm thinking about creating new names for fools like this each time I go live, guys. So work with me. If you guys have some, hit me up on my social medias at Traveltriberaw. We can definitely get into it and chat about some new names for these fools that come in and their mindset is completely slayed of what the actual goal is. So keep that in mind, okay, guys? Keep that in mind. So back to it, right? We won't be too distracted by the distractor. We're talking about today 5 reasons you will hate Africa. And yes, I do mean hate. And by the way, I do see the comments coming in. We will touch on the comments after a while. If you want your comment read, say something foolish and I'll get to you immediately. Look at Pepper, he did it. So, and if you want to say something, and you want your comment read, go ahead and hit that damn super chat, man. I really appreciate it. Throw some money on the books, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Okay. So here we go. Right now, we're talking about the infatuation and obsession that these Africans, not all of them, but a lot of these African countries, they have with American movements, traditions, and media. Earlier, we were speaking on how certain things just shouldn't be inside of certain countries within inside of the continent of Africa, right? Certain movements and traditions, and I was saying let them have it. We talked about how Africa, they do have their own cultures and traditions, but we see that inside of the major cities it's not really pushed that much, but we do still see that Africans do keep a lot of their own culture and traditions, so we have to give them their props for that. But for a lot of Black Americans going to Africa, you're not going to like when you see that white Jesus all over the place. You're not going to like hearing maybe women talking about, oh, I'm putting my baby daddy on child support. You're not gonna like, the African dudes. Sometimes they just come up to you and what's good, my nigga? Hey, nigga, what's up, my nigga? And they think it's funny, but you think to yourself, poor boy, if only you understood. Like, man, I mean, it's dumb in America when they say it, and it's dumb in Africa when they say it, but it sounds even dumber in Africa because they're not even saying it right. It's nigga, you know what I'm saying? But they, what's up, my nigga? My nigga, my nigga. All right, all right, all right, all right. I'm sorry. Listen, I swear, y'all, it just sounds so dumb. It sounds so dumb. And when the ladies say it too, oh my goodness, man, I've had some ladies. Oh man, when you're doing the little podcast that I was doing. Oh man, these niggas ain't shit. Like, it's nigga. Like, it's funny, y'all. It's funny. But anyways, certain movements and traditions and media should not be pushing into Africa. And I'll tell you guys this: the worst part about uh, American traditions and movements breaching their way inside of Africa, inside of the motherland, is that there's no knowledge of ancient info and religions. For instance, Egyptology. Guys, I'm going to tell you the truth, man. I didn't go to Africa for the same reasons as a lot of Black Americans, right? I do notice that some Black Americans, they'll say that they're going to be a passport bro. I do notice that some Black Americans are going to Africa saying they're trying to get, maybe back in touch with their roots and stuff. I went truly because I was tired of some things that was happening in America, and I was losing my mind over here. Like I was losing it, y'all. I was losing it. I was really losing it because after a while, the trauma to keep seeing your people get brutally tortured and done bad, pow pow, in the worst way possible, it really affects your mental health seriously. So I said to myself, I need to go where there's less of this, and I found Africa to be a safe haven for my mental health. Typically you'll find this when you're around people that look like you. You'll find this when you're around people that look like you and also show levels of intelligence, levels of integrity, and levels of morale. For instance, the fact that Africans are very family oriented, the fact that they have this certain aura about them where you run into a man and you just know that this brother is actually a man and he's working hard. Certain things that you can just see from African brothers and the sisters being feminine, all that stuff really played a part in, making me, feel better, right? When you're constantly in America, just seeing on the news all the stuff that's happening to us, it really can take a toll on your mental health. And it should. If you're human, it should, but at the same time, there has to be an out, right? For intelligent Black melanated people. So Africa was my way, to gain some kind of peace and some clarity and see that the world is not just a pow pow, the world is much more. So I was happy Africa gave me that. But the saddest part when I went there, because my second reason of going was for the culture too, I wanted to retouch back with my roots, like understand, certain things about ancient Kemet and, maybe ancient Egyptology, maybe learn something about the Library of Alexandria, which was name changed, of course, because it wasn't originally called Alexandria, but this is considered to be the first university in the world. And I went to Africa because I really wanted to gain that information. And, I really, it was just sad because I went there and I didn't find anybody that really knew about the ancient religions. I didn't find anybody that knew about the ancient universities. A lot of people didn't even know the first university, which was the Library of Alexandria. A lot of people didn't even know that was in Egypt. A lot of people didn't even know that this is where all the greatest philosophers went. This is where all the greatest information came from way back before they had UC Berkeley. So it was just sad to see how much they forgot because of these Western traditions, and cultures. So I'll just leave it at that. That's the first thing right there. So, certain things, guys, just doesn't need to be inside of Africa. Okay. Certain movements, certain culture, certain things on media, it just shouldn't be there. And I truly want to give props, right, to uh China. You know, we can say a lot of things about China, right? But one thing we can't say is that they're not trying in a way, right? Now, we do know that with any type of billionaires, you must exercise caution, and we know the Chinese government is ran by billionaires, right? But we do have to give them props that all this American media, guys, it's not really inside of Africa like that. Excuse me, it's not really inside of China like that. American media really is in America and majority of the world, but China, they put certain things in place that is not brain rot for their offspring. They put certain social medias that's for, people to learn. They even have times that you can use social media in the country. There's so many benefits that I see. And this is a society to me that actually cares about its people in some capacity, right? In some capacity. So I'll leave it at that for there, but yeah, China doesn't just allow everything from America to infiltrate, right? And rightfully so, because it's not healthy. on the mind, even when it comes to Chinese news. China's not going to stress you guys out. China's not going to stress the Chinese public about certain things because they say, we got this under control. We're going to work as a unit. You guys don't have to worry about it. So why we put this on the news, right? Sometimes you can even see on American television that you can see that they put certain things inside of the news on American TV stations and they're repeating it across all the different networks, ABC, Fox, NBC, all these different ones. They're constantly like repeating the same information and it's just wrong. It's just wrong and it's misleading and it messes up the American public's health. This is why we have so many people going crazy in America. Okay. So that's to be said on that one. Shout out to Wise Man 91. Now, didn't I say this, man? I said when somebody goes ahead and hits that super chat, man, we're going to show appreciation by reading their comment immediately. So I see all the comments lining up, but I do appreciate the ones that appreciate me, and shout out to all my Patreon supporters and subscribers as well. But yeah, shout out to Wise Man 91. He says, great work. I do appreciate that, brother. I definitely do. Let me see. How do I get out of this right here? Okay, I guess I have to take it off screen to read the rest of the comments. But yeah, shout out to the real ones, man. It's definitely information that they're keeping from people. Unfortunately, to gain this kind of information from, people on YouTube, because most people on YouTube, man, they're going to tell you like, oh, the worst thing about Africa is, sometimes, it's going to be hard to get transportation. Sometimes they're going to tell you like very surface level things because they didn't do a deep dive. Maybe they didn't go to Africa for the right reasons. Maybe they just went for a quick vacation. Me personally, why I started going to Africa was because I really wanted to be one with my people. I really wanted to learn some history, and I wanted to get away from certain sick things that were happening to people that are melanated inside of America. These are my official reasons for coming out to Africa. So, wow. It's like I can't read all the comments on screen, so I have to read them from my other monitor. Let me see here. Cloudbuster says, what African country are you located in now? By the way, if you guys would like, you guys can call into the show. All right. I'm going to go ahead and put the link. Boom. The link right now is inside of the chat. So you guys can call into the show. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and have our debate, have our discourse, and then we're going to go on to the next important part of the reason that you are going to hate Africa. But for right now, we're just going to read these comments and we're going to get back to it, okay? Cloudbus says, what African country are you located in now? I traveled to Africa recently. What country did you go to, by the way, Cloudbuster? And for me right now, I'm not in Africa. I'm actually in America, but I will be traveling very soon. I do travel a lot off camera as well. So yeah, we were just talking about me possibly going back to Colombia, and I'm not going for the women, even though the women are on screen. I was going back just to show you guys another side of Colombia that I don't think a lot of Black men really show you. So I thought that would be important, So I'll keep it at that right there. So yeah, call into the show if you guys are open to it. Call into the show. The link is inside of the chat. So just click the chat and then you guys will get the link. South Africa says, out of curiosity, what countries in Africa have you been to and how long did you live in each one? Man, you know what? If I told you, I'd have to off you. Like, no, but on the real, y'all, I have been to a lot of the African countries. I'm going to keep it at that. I've shown you guys the ones that I've been to on camera that I'm okay with you guys knowing. But if I have countries I'm doing business in, I don't know if you really on my team like that. I don't know if I tell you that I'll be going to this country, are you going to wait outside the plane and just, oh man, this Black guy right here, I don't know. We're living in some really weird times. There's stalkers, there's weirdos, and they don't want to see Black people do good in life. So sometimes I don't feel comfortable giving all of my whereabouts, places I'm doing businesses, places that I'm just doing for profit, or nonprofit, whatever it is, I'm not trying to put all that stuff for the public to hear or see, So, but I will tell you the ones that I'm okay with you guys knowing, and even some of the ones that I haven't shown on camera too, that I don't mind because I'm not doing any business there. I'm not doing any kind of, nonprofit, anything like that. So, uh, first one I'll tell you, Tanzania. I've been to Rwanda. I've been to Uganda. Um, I've been to, let me see, South Africa. You guys have seen that. I've been to Ghana. I've been to Nigeria. I've been to, let me see, let me think, Kenya. Um, let me see. What's that one right next to South Africa? Sheesh. Now I look like I don't know what I'm talking about, huh? Some genius is gonna come in the chat and say, see, he doesn't know. He doesn't know. He doesn't know not all of Africa. He can't remember all the countries in Africa. See, how can he call himself an African man? He does not know all of Africa. They're so psychotic, guys, that you gotta be careful. So, anyways, yeah. I've been just know that I've been to a wide range of countries, right? And if you do a consultation with me on patreon.com / Traveltriberaw, you'll be able to maybe hear some of that. Depending if that's the country that you're going to, then I might give you information on that country. So yeah, patreon.com / Traveltriberaw. You guys can find all my exclusive content, video uploads, re-uploads, and the Financial Freedom Masterclass, where you can learn to take control of your life and live the life that you are truly meant to live, man. I have ways that you can make fast and legal money and get out of America as quick as possible. This is for the Raw 2 and Raw 3 tiers, which are the tiers inside of my Patreon channel. And yeah, there's a lot of useful information. Whether short or long term, you'll be able to find out how to make fast legal money and get outside of your home country immediately. Having access to women that maybe are just fast women, or if you're looking more for a long time lifestyle, which is the one I encourage most men on a purpose to, push into, then I have ways that you can make legal money. It comes at a slower pace, but at the end of the day, it's way more beneficial for your long-term legacy. Okay. I explained to you guys how you can get legitimate housing, how you guys can get, women that are of quality versus women that are just, maybe for a day, So, yeah, that's what we talk about on there. I do see we have somebody that has came up inside of the chat, has came up inside of the live. Let's go ahead and add him onto the stage. Um, let's go ahead and add him on. Hello.
Yo, what's up? What's going on, man? This is Amin. I'm calling from Durham, North Carolina, man. So I'm out here in Raleigh, Durham, the Triangle area. Yeah.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing good, man. I'm headed out to Kenya in November, and this is my first time coming and going out there, man. So I'm excited, man. I'll be staying in Nairobi, and so I'm interested in actually relocating to Africa, man. And I'm looking at Kenya to be that spot. So I know you got a lot of experience. You've been doing a lot of things, man. So I'm just here to kind of soak up some game and maybe ask a few questions and stuff like that. So.
Oh, yeah, you should. And, while I talk a lot about how Africa, there's the reasons you should hate Africa, there is a lot of great reasons that you should also love Africa. So I'm happy that you're one of these people with your own mind and you say, well, he says this, but, at the end of the day, I still want to go and experience it for myself. That's very important because there's a lot of great things to love about Africa, too. So that's a live stream we'll be doing tomorrow as well. But go ahead and ask your questions, though. Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah, so now I'm interested in relocating to Kenya. And I know, what I'm saying, I'm not interested in the tourist areas. Nairobi, it gets overly populated. It's a lot of oversaturation. I've heard the situation with the individual, I won't mention his name, that did some crazy stuff on World Star. So,
Yeah.
what I'm saying? That was crazy, bro. But at the same time, like the areas that are not tourist heavy, what I'm saying, like the areas that are not popular. What areas do you recommend in Kenya that's not necessarily oversaturated and whatnot?
When you say not popular, what do you mean by that?
I just mean something that's not everybody's headed to, everybody's going to. You know what I'm saying? It's more of a place where you get more feel of the local people. You get more feel of the Kenyan experience. You know what I mean? It's not so many.
Mm,
Basically, not so
mm.
many foreigners, man. Straight to the point. Not so many foreigners, bro.
Right, right, right. No, I hear what you're saying. Well, I'll tell you this, man. Rwaka is a nice place to go. I mean, it's right next to Nairobi. Some would say it's technically in Nairobi, but it's right
Uh-huh.
next to there, and it's very beautiful there because, you know, you're not that far from the major city, which is important because you'll still have, the American amenities that you're used to. But you'll also be able to see, kind of a more, I won't call it rural, but I'll say that it is a bit more not as modern as Nairobi. Also, I'd even mention Naivasha. I'd mention Nakuru and Kisumu, which is, I believe, home of the Luos. Shout out to the Luos, the thick, voluptuous, beautiful Luo women, man. They are
Yo,
fine. And the
yeah.
brothers there, cool too, and shape, good brothers down to get a workout in with you. So, that's also dope to see. But yeah, those are the places I would suggest. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out
And
how to get you up on the stage real quick. I'm new to using this thing real quick. How do I get you on the stage? I don't know if I'll be able to get you. It's cool. Y'all just gonna have to listen to them from the screen, y'all. Okay. Okay.
yo, so okay, so now what is the difference between the women in the major cities and the women in like the Nakurus and whatnot, the cities that you mentioned? Are they different? Are they about the same? What's the flavor when you go to cities with less foreigners as opposed to cities with foreigners when it comes to the women?
There we go. My bad. You gotta ask that one more time because I just got you on the camera, so I
That's
was
what's
trying
up,
to
bro.
figure it out. Yeah,
When
go
you
ahead.
go to the areas that have less foreigners in them and the women in those areas, what are the difference between the women in the areas where there's less foreigners and the women in the areas where there's more foreigners? Is there a difference or are they about the same as far as the
And
women are concerned?
this pertaining to the women. Okay. Yeah, you know what? The women uh I say in areas where there's not foreigners, they're more feminine. I'd say that they don't feel like they have to put on a show as much because they know
Um,
that okay, they're around their men and their men look at them crazy if they dressing in no clothes, and the men know that they gonna look at them crazy if they out here talking about you ain't let you tell me what they is that man ain't shit niggas ain't you ain't gonna tell me and I got my baby that they know that okay I gotta act a certain way in
uh-huh.
this area because the men here not playing these games. My mother lives in this town. My father lives in this town. I have to show respect. I can't exactly be for the streets because what I do in Nairobi, I can't do in maybe Kisumu or Nakuru because you know my mom lives here. My uncle lives here. I actually have a story real quick about some woman. She told me that she was doing some stuff that she wasn't supposed to be doing, walking home at night with some dude. And she said her uncle stopped her on the street and said, "Where are you going?" And she said, "Oh, I'm just with my friend." And the uncle said, "Get in the car right now. I'm taking you to your parents' house." She had to go in the car and she, had to go straight home. So you're gonna realize that inside of the more rural areas, or less modernized areas, the women they come with a more feminine aura just because it's not that many clubs like that. There's more rules because their parents are around, et cetera, et cetera. And some of them just are not really city girls. So even though they could move to the city, they don't want to because they know that maybe there's some demonic energy and it's not on that type of vibration.
Yo, that's what's up, man. So when you go to these areas that are not that have less foreigners, that are not as populated or whatnot, do you get Airbnbs or do you just go straight to the major hotels? I mean, how do you kind of move as far as relocating, where you're gonna stay and things like that? Do you kind of get consultations from people or do you just kind of go for what you know or flow, whatever?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, personally, um, what I do I just get an Airbnb. There's Airbnbs all over, and it might not
Mm-hmm.
be, what you guys might see me usually in, but
Mm-hmm.
it's still nice enough that it's like, okay, it's a nice place to live in, right? So, I just look for cleanliness. That's what I look for. If there's been a few reviews and they all say that it's clean, that's what I'm looking for. I might be sleeping on a queen size bed. I'm 6'5", damn near. So it's, it's not really,
Mhm.
that comfortable, but at the same time, it's nice. It's nice, it's clean, it's in a decent neighborhood. And you
Yeah.
know what? The good thing about African people too, and this is gonna be on tomorrow's live stream, the great thing about them, they some good brothers over there, man. They gonna tell you if you got a driver, they gonna drop you off in like the best area and tell you, hey man, this is the safe neighborhood. Stay over here if you're trying to, be around, some good people and you want a nice place. This hotel right here is great. So, asking around does wonders too.
All right, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. Now, you
Yeah.
banging on Africa a little bit, right? I see it on the title. I mean, I don't know what the details on it is, but I know you kind of hitting on Africa. From this live that you have going on right now, what do you want brothers to take from this? Do you want brothers not to go? Do you want brothers to be more on guard? What is the information you want brothers to take from this when they're done with this live that you're giving now?
Wow, that's actually a great question. Let me read this comment first. 1 second. Okay, shout out to Shin Mir Ah. Shinmir. I feel like this brother trying to have me say something that's kind of like crazy. You know how they be trying to space out the words, so I'm saying something freaky or something. Shinmir. I don't know. Okay, shout out to this brother. He sends 5. He says, "Have you been to Chad? And this is your portion for reading my words and comments on screen." Damn, I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that. I'll tell you like this, right? That's one of those things that I may or may not really want on the internet like that. So hit me up on social media at Traveltriberaw. We can talk about that privately. That's no problem at all. But yeah, that's what I was saying, where you don't know how many people are there for you. Maybe I haven't went, maybe I have, but that's one of those things I'd rather talk about privately with you, brother. And let me tell you too, bro. On screen, what was your name again?
I mean,
I mean, okay.
yes, sir.
Um, you know what I want people to understand about Africa is that Africa as a continent is a beautiful place. There's a lot of great things about the continent, but if you go in without the right information, you're going to fall prey to a lot of the corruption. You're going to fall prey to, a lot of the demonic entities that linger inside of the continent. And these are some things that a lot of Black people specifically don't know when they're going in. And that's what I'm trying to give people is just, a warning before going inside of the beautiful continent, because as everything that glitters, it's not all gold, right? So that's what I'm just trying to give is a quick warning just to people. I have some more topics to get onto as well, so we just barely hitting the tip of the iceberg with this stuff, but yeah.
Mm. And you say getting the right information. Like, do you think a lot of people are given the right information when it comes to Africa, or do you think there's a lot of misinformation going on? I mean, when it comes to getting the right information so that you can apply it to when you go, or you think there's a lot of people giving false information when it comes
Oh,
to the knowledge of Africa?
Oh yeah. A lot of people giving false information, brother. Yeah, like it's the thing about it though, a lot of people haven't really lived there, and a lot of people only trying to go for a quick vacation or go for a quick smash. Like a lot of people ain't going there to really be a part of the culture, be a part of the people, integrate into their society, and be amongst the people. Like that's not a lot of people's goal is only just, for those few reasons. So, you know, the information they have is only scratching the surface. So they go and they think they know certain things, so they do a YouTube video and talk about light stuff that's easy to see. But when you've been living there for a while, then you see that okay, there's much more greater issues here that also need to be spoken on.
Mm. And what are your top 3 countries in Africa, man? What are the top 3 countries that you recommend a brother who's going to the Africa going to Africa for the first time? What countries do you recommend that he goes to first, man, to get his feet wet to kind of learn where he needs to be?
That's a good question. To get your feet wet, I'll say, the ones that are considered to be at the top, right? Like Johannesburg, South Africa,
Mm-hmm.
Nairobi, Kenya,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd say Accra, Ghana. It's just the reason I'm saying
Mm.
these because this gives you you know, are you from America, right?
Of course, I'm FBA.
Right. Okay, cool. Yeah. So, the thing is, if you're from America, see, me personally, the first country I went to was Tanzania.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like going into man, like it felt like a battlefield. Nobody really spoke English. Like, bruh,
Mm,
oh man, it was bad, man. I'm telling you, I had to translate everything, and I didn't know the
mm,
SIM card situation that well. I didn't know about land scams. I didn't know much. So over time, that's when I finally learned that okay, wow, okay, so what I'm really supposed to do is go to Johannesburg first, or maybe a place like Nairobi, Kenya first, where it's damn near just like America. Not really like America that much, but it's damn near
mm.
kind of like America. And then I can ease into Tanzania life. If I would have done that first, then going into a country like Tanzania would have been simple as eating cake.
Okay, that's peace, man. That's definitely peace on that, man. And what's your so when it comes to this, man, like I'm
Mhm.
looking for a queen, man. I'm definitely looking for a queen. Do you recommend brothers going to Africa, going to different countries to find their queen, or should they just look for their queen in the States? This is for my African American brothers that are in the United States that say they tired of the women here, they need to see other women, other places, they're looking for a wife, they want to settle down. Do you recommend brothers going to Africa for that reason, or should they kind of slow it down and kind of look at other reasons to go?
Yeah, that's another really good question, brother. The thing is, I'm gonna tell you like this: like, it's good to be looking for a queen. But I think a lot of black brothers, the issue was going on is when we going into Africa, we not looking at ourselves first and saying, you know what? And I'm not saying this is you, but I'm saying for
Mm-hmm.
black men, I feel like the major problem, we don't look at all the trauma that we've been through. We never like do some self-reflecting, and we
Mm,
go into Africa, and immediately we're thinking to ourselves like, okay, I need a queen, I need a queen. But sometimes certain things that American women maybe have traumatized us on, when an African woman does this slight thing, we're thinking maybe she's doing this because of this, maybe she's doing this because of this, so I have to meet her with this type of energy. But no, this is just her
mm,
traditions, this is her culture. Her coming maybe like 10 minutes late, 20 minutes late is an act of disrespect. It's an act of like, we don't take time serious in this country. An American chick, she's late because she wants to show you you're not important. If it's Chris Brown on the date, she's
mm,
gonna come an hour early. If it's you on the date, she's gonna come an hour late. So,
mm,
there's certain things that I feel like we as Black American men specifically, and just men in general going to Africa, got to work on first,
mm,
and then we can say that we're worthy of a queen inside of Africa, because it takes a king to find a queen. But a lot of dudes, without doing the self work, this is what a lot of brothers do. I'm gonna be honest. A lot of
mm,
brothers go to Africa. They don't do any self work on themselves. They have a basic job. They've saved some money. Kudos to them. Or they're on credit. They're using a loan, and they go to Africa expecting to find a queen, and you haven't done any work. You were raised by a single mom. You were, indoctrinated by this sick culture in America to think some of
mm,
your male ways are manly, which they're not. And now you're going to Africa saying, why am I not finding a queen? Is because you as a man haven't put the work in to be considered to be a king. So, they say you are what you attract. If you're attracting
mm,
peasant women that are rude and disrespectful, that's because you might need to do some elevation on your own behalf. Because outside of the camera, when I'm not doing my podcast with the ladies and stuff like that, I'm attracting lots of pretty high quality women. It's just the women that I'm putting on camera, unfortunately, it might not be showing the best thing, but it's not like these women are the women I'm trying to marry. It's the women that I'm just putting on camera because I know this what the audience will want to see. But when it comes to ladies that are really attracting me off camera, I notice there's a quality behind them, and they tend to give me exactly what I put out, king energy, and they give me that queen energy back. So that's what I'll say. If you're trying to get a queen inside of Africa, you can easily get a queen there, but you have to come as a king. Because I'll tell you this one last thing about these African brothers. These African brothers are serious men outside of the work, outside of all this other stuff. They're serious dudes. They don't spend time talking for hours about women on these damn podcasts. They don't spend time talking about, oh, let me go get my nails manicured, because men in America do this. They don't
mm,
spend $200 on their haircut. These African men, what they gonna do is, if not anything, they're gonna walk the walk. Even if they don't got the money, they're gonna walk the walk, and they might even talk the talk. But you can see an aura about the men there. They walk with their chest out. You can tell they had their fathers in their life, and so they're attracting these extremely submissive women with damn near no money. You're like, how is that possible? It's because they put in the
mm,
work to be considered, to even not have a kingdom or even not have, the cash flow. Not all of them, some of them have it, but they can
Mhm.
walk as a king does. They can talk like a king does. So this is why they usually end up with these queen-like women. Let me read from the actual thing. My bad. I'm trying to read these fast, y'all. This is a lot, guys. Is this homework? If make it through slavery when nothing can stop you. What the Yes, yes. If you make it through slavery, then nothing can stop you. Exactly. We come from a line of great black warriors. African people come from this line too. So to say that we can't do small tasks like, do certain things in our communities is going to push us one step forward in the right direction is ludicrous. We can definitely put in the work and get great results. We've done it many times before. Um, Caesar Blue Hive says, Tribe got a warped view of Black Americans. Where are you getting your examples from? Well, brother, you can call into the show, which I know you probably won't do, but to say that I have a warped view of Black Americans is very sad because I elaborated very well. But what do we call people like Caesar Blue Hive, y'all? What do we call them? Dusty Cretan creatures. See, these dusty Cretan creatures, man, they come into the chat, they come into the live streams to wreak havoc, try to push us off of our goal by saying completely foolish, ludicrous things without having any proof of it. I said they can call in, and guess what they never typically do? Call in because they're cowards. And this is how it goes. Petty panini peasants, like Caesar Blue Hive, you know, it's unfortunate. They'll never get anywhere in life. They just need attention. And when you live off of attention, we know how that goes. Constantly seeking validation, causing turmoil. It means you're not putting enough effort into your own life. So you're trying to wreak havoc on others. It's very sad, actually. It's very sad. Petty panini peasant. Just says something out their mouth inside the comments to get attention. Well, congrats, brother. You got the attention that you wanted. I hope you're happy. All right, we go on to Black Americans is not lazy. They just know what their worth is. It's the white who is lack, but the flip it on the black, LOL. Yeah, they do try to flip a lot of things on Black Americans, acting like Black Americans aren't the ones who literally built the entire country. It's kind of crazy. Um, Real Life Demon says FBA. Shout out to the anime reference. I can't say the word, but shout out to the anime reference in his profile picture. Shin Mir Ah says some state governments of the U.S. are already saying blacks are not descendants from the slave trade, so your wishes are coming true as a FBA. I feel it won't add confidence to a black man image. Um, some black people are not from slavery. Some black people are not from. Some black people are already here in America. I mean, that's a very wide known fact. It doesn't take rocket science to know Native Americans were black. Native Americans were brown skinned. So there it wouldn't be surprising to know that a lot of we consider black Americans came from Native Americans. So, there regardless of how it goes, I'm speaking on behalf of the melanated class of the world. You know, I'm speaking on the melanated class of the world. So that means whether you're African, whether you're black American, whether you are, claiming to be native, whether you are Brazilian. We come in all of the continents on this planet. You would be surprised to see us in Asia. You would be surprised to see what looks like Asians in South Africa, but it's a certain tribe that you can tell that this is where Asians came from. They won't admit this, but this is where they came from. It's clear as day. It's like a whole tribe in South Africa with squinty eyes, light skin. It's like, bruh, they literally look like Asians before they do the skin bleaching. So that's to keep it at that. But yeah, guys, we have to get on to the next topic now. Okay. So thank you for the petty panini peasants and the dusty Cretan creatures for giving their useless commentary inside of my chat. Shout out to all the real brothers that came in that demonstrated themselves well as a melanated brother. And yeah, let's get on to the next topic. Just to recap real quick for everybody that's new here. Today we're talking about the 5 reasons that you will hate Africa. The first one we talked about was the infatuation and the love of the American movements, traditions, and media. And the problem with having this obsession with them is that sometimes when you do that, you push down your own traditions and your own culture. For instance, there's no reason there should be a white Jesus inside of Africa, because the actual Jesus was apparently uh, burnt copper colored. This is actually in the Bible, apparently. So, there's no reason that that should be all over the churches and the buses and the billboards, but it's there. Also, unfortunately, we've come to a point now where a lot of Africans, they don't even know about ancient Kemet or Egyptology. And that's really unfortunate because, that apparently was the original religion. And I won't say apparently, it actually was the original religion. Before they had Jesus Christ, they had the Egyptology, and they had the Ankh, which when you look at it, and it's a direct comparison of what we have now in modern religion called the uh, Christ, the Jesus piece, the Jesus cross, So it's unfortunate that you see a lot of Africans, they don't even know about ancient Egyptology or ancient African culture, because it's becoming saturated over time, but I will tell you guys this: at the same time as we see that African culture is becoming saturated, and we're seeing that, slowly African culture is kind of, being a bit lackadaisical on that end, we do see America is also becoming, they're losing their culture and traditions as well, if anybody agrees that they had them, because we see that they're actually, they focused on the wrong party so much that now they're being pushed out of their own country. They're about to become the second population inside of this country. The second largest population in America will be the Caucasian. So it's unfortunate how much effort they put into the Black society, but as we can see, this is how life works. This is how life works, and I'm happy for the Hispanics. I will say I'm very happy for them. I'm not gonna lie. I'm happy to see the Hispanics become the high majority of America. What? I'm happy. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I'm happy because the level of obsession that some of these other races had with the Black society is crazy to me. The Hispanics, if anything, I'm from LA. You got parts of LA where you shouldn't go because there's a lot of issues, but at the heart of LA, Blacks and Hispanics, we won. You know, at the heart of it, at the heart of it, at the heart of it. But you got to be in LA to really know how that works. You got to be in LA to know how it works. You know, it's a respect kind of thing. But man, I'm telling you, hey, we just gonna leave it at that. But shout out to the Hispanics, man. I'm happy that you know they did what they had to do. They definitely strategized to get their way on top. So I'm just trying to see my Black brothers and sisters like that too. But we gonna keep it at that. The next most important thing uh, on the ticket, the second reason that a lot of you will hate Africa is because there is a lot of demonic and corrupt, what are called leaders inside of the continent. Okay. And a lot of African countries, they all have this. All right, y'all? They all have this. So if you think to yourself, oh, it's not going to be all of the African countries. No, it's kind of going to be all. Unfortunately. Unfortunately, it's kind of going to be all of them. Yeah, I know it. It sucks, doesn't it? I know. You're probably thinking to yourself, wow, that sucks. Yeah, I know it does suck, right? Now, I want you guys to understand something. The corruption inside of Africa is different from what you've ever seen in your life. By the way, all these videos will be on Patreon. If you guys are ever looking for my long live stream videos, they're all on Patreon. To see the whole entire live streams and all the videos and stuff is always on Patreon. But oh shit, did my thing freeze? In Africa, a lot of these countries have demonic and corrupt leaders, man. I hate to say this, but it's so real. And sometimes I can see how they sold their own people into slavery. I can see it. It all makes sense. It all makes sense how as Black Americans even got to America. A lot of people, you might not want to admit that you were sold into slavery, but that's where your lineage most likely had come from. Doesn't mean that there wasn't Black people already here in America. It just means that, hey, so I'm gonna tell y'all like this, man. The level of corruption inside of Africa is just evil. Like, you think America is evil, they at least let you take from their waste. Africa, you'd be lucky to even get a smidget of the napkin. What do I mean by this? I have a theory in Africa, right? It's called the toilet bowl theory. I believe that most of us in the US, in America, we're here and we will never be able to sit at the table with the rich elites. That's a fact, right? That's a fact. Most of us will never get to that point. You have the outliers that will break through whatever they have to do to get there, but most people aren't willing to do what some would say needs to be done to sit at that table, right? So most people remain comfortable in America with their regular lives, with their regular income. But then you have the African society, where in a lot of African countries I've seen, they don't even get to eat at the table. Now, let me go about the toilet bowl theory. This is basically where we have the rich elites in America, right? The rich elites in America, we can at least when the rich elites, they eat at the table and they eat their food, at least we know at some point they're going to have to go to the bathroom and let it out, right? They're going to have to release. Now, luckily, us normal people, us regular folks, we going to get to have the releasings, the remainings from the rich elites inside of America, right? We gonna get to, chew on what some would call financial waste, right? What comes out of them. They eat everything, and we can eat what comes out of them, right? That's how it works. But then you have some people that don't even get to eat what's inside of the toilet. Some people are unfortunately cursed inside of these African countries where their elites eat at the damn table, buy all these damn Mercedes Benzes, buy all this nice ish, and they only get to eat what's inside of the sewer. That's what's going on in Africa, y'all. Africa has a lot of damn money. Don't let people fool y'all and say, oh, Africa doesn't have money. No, no, no. They have lots of money, lots of it, lots of resources, etc. But that's because the corrupt white people are stealing from the African public. That's not effing true. It's true partially, but it's not the full piece of the pie. The real issue with Africa is that the elites inside of Africa, the rich people inside of Africa, do not care about their own people to even let them take from the waste. We must be grateful of these American elites. These mother effers let us take from the damn waste what's in the toilet, what comes after they eat at the rich people table. The Africans, they don't even get to eat from the waste inside of the toilet. They have to eat from what's inside of the sewer because their governments are so corrupt and evil. They have the money. You know what? There's no way I can be a government official driving 10 different Mercedes Benzes, having 10 different properties around my African country, and have my people starving, living inside of these damn shanty towns, having the youth go into schools where they can't even have real textbooks or a real place to sit. There's no way that I can live like that, because what I would know as a human that cares about my people is that all I need is one Mercedes Benz to fix all of the problems inside of this country when it comes to the school. And another Mercedes can fix all of the issues when it comes to the school lunches. There's no way as a government official I can just look at my people and say, man, well, y'all just gonna have to starve. And I'm not gonna help y'all out either. But you know what I will help myself to is a new Mercedes Benz. Thank you. S-Class, please. That's evil, man. It's evil. I think I'm going to do a G-Wagon on Saturday. It's like, it's evil. It's evil. They just keep buying Mercedes, and you think to yourself like, damn, one of these Mercedes Benzes could fix all the schools in your country inside of Africa. I know Africa's a continent. I'm talking about a specific African country, right? For the specific African country in this example, and there's many African countries that are like this, you think to yourself, it only takes one goddamn Mercedes Benz. You get one of those stupid damn G-Wagons. Let's look up real quick how much a G-Wagon costs, y'all. Hold on. I'm going to give y'all the information. Hold on. We're going to do this. G-Wagon price. One G-Wagon The 550 is going for $150,000. Do you know how easy it would be to get that damn stupid Mercedes Benz that this government official bought and go ahead and take that and sell it for its parts and all that stuff and give some damn real school textbooks for the youth, give some damn rice and beans for them so they don't got to eat just random things that they find outside? Like, it's like, damn, man, can y'all share anything? Now, I'm not saying all the African schools are broke and all the youth are dusty and stuff, but I'm just like, damn, the African elites, they don't give nothing to their people, man. Nothing. They won't give nothing because they're greedy and evil. And we complain about America all the time, but it wasn't until I went to Africa, it wasn't until I went around the world, but specifically Africa, and I said, damn, this level of greed is beyond what I thought was possible. To give somebody like a Jeep, to buy 5 different damn G-Wagons, and then they travel too, y'all. These elites, they be traveling different countries. So you know if they're gonna have 5 Mercedes Benzes inside of this country, they're gonna have to buy 10 Mercedes Benzes in the other country too, right? You know that's how they gotta work, right? Because they so greedy and evil and corrupt. So that's what's going on, man. That's what's going on. It's evil and demonic, you know. So guys, right now, what yo, testing, testing. Damn, y'all. That's what happens when he's spitting. I don't know if y'all can still hear me, but unfortunately, it, it looks like this where we're gonna have to call it an end, man. Because for whatever reason, it's not letting me tap my screen and I can't go on to my other topics. I can say it, but I can't show the screen. I got pictures and videos and stuff. I need to show my screen for what's the topic, and it's not letting me touch the topics. It's letting me mute, but it's not letting me. Damn, man. Because I got 3 more for y'all. And now I hate to. Hold on. Let me figure this out, y'all. Hold on. We having a slight technical error. Hold on. Let me figure this out, y'all. Let me figure this out real quick. Let me know if y'all can see the screen right now. Can y'all see that on the screen? Did y'all see the screen just flip? If y'all seen it flip, we can keep going. Damn, my bad, y'all. Oopsie. Look like we going through it, huh? Must be them damn rich African elites, huh? Trying to F me up. All right, shout out to Shin Mir Ah. Shout out to this brother. He says, yeah, we can see it. Okay, shout out to you, brother. I appreciate that. Emmanuel Arthur. Uh-oh. So, okay, guys, it looks like we're going to be good to keep going on YouTube. I thought I was going to have to say, okay, just let it all go to the Patreon, but it looks like we're going to be good to still keep it on YouTube. And that, I'm happy this streaming network understands that sometimes the stream might cut out and, you know, the person that's recording might have to come back into the studio. So I'm happy that it just showed me that because I thought we were screwed, man. I thought the whole video just cut off, all this stuff. Y'all know I'm new to this streaming stuff, but we having such a great discussion. But these damn rich African elites, they like, damn, why you telling them we make them eat out the sewer? Why you telling them that? Why you telling them American elites is better than African elites? Yeah, because American elites, at least they be sharing a little bit of the wealth. God damn. Like, I mean, they give us at least a 0.000000001% of their wealth. These African elites will leave you with nothing. They'll have you starve. They don't care about you. Now, this is what's going on, right? We have another uh demonic entity that has decided to comment on the video and show hate, right? This person's name is Emmanuel Arthur. Sounds made up, but we're just going to run with it. This is what I call a petty panini peasant. Now, instead of looking at the grand issue of what I'm talking about inside these African countries, this person leaves such an irrelevant comment that I didn't even read through it, but I can already tell from the first 5 words, that this person's in their feelings. Emmanuel Arthur says, call. The dude doesn't even use proper English. He says, what he means, can you call the names of those countries you're talking about instead of generalizing the continent, a continent made of 57 countries, because where I was born, we've never seen what you're saying. Petty panini peasant Emmanuel Arthur, I need you to call into the show right now. I need you to bring your demonic eye and call onto this show and call into this shit right now. I need you to call the show right now, petty panini peasant. See, this is the thing about these petty panini peasants, guys. They find foolish things to talk about, ignore everything we're talking about, and go straight to something completely irrelevant. Like, we about to get into this. We about to get into this though. We about to get into this. If you're not a coward, I'm gonna send you an invite and you can call the show. Okay. Here we go right here. And don't run. Don't run. Because this is what they all do. Petty panini peasants come inside the chat. They come in with the comments and then they run off and leave. Like their father did when they made them a bastard. So inside of the chat, we have the link. Petty panini peasant Emmanuel Arthur, I need you to call that link. Click that link so I can bring you in and you can embarrass yourself. I mean, you can prove your point that you have made. We're going to give you 1 minute to call into the show. Okay. We cannot do the petty panini peasants because we just finished dealing with the dusty Cretan creatures just a few seconds ago. All right. It's too much dust. All right. It's too much dust. All right. So we're going to give you 1 minute, petty panini peasant Emmanuel Arthur, to call into the show so we can talk about what you just said. Let's give him 1 minute, guys. This is Jeopardy. Hey, bro, we not about to wait all day for you, Emmanuel. You're a grown man being petty, and I can't even say the word, but you being a petty buffoon. We need you to call into the show and prove that you are a man. Because right now, what you sound like is an AI robot that was sent here to disrupt our healthy, intelligent conversation amongst great melanated beings. You sound like you're not even a real human for real. So we need proof. We need you to call in and give proof. All right? We're going to give you a few more seconds to call in and talk about how what I'm saying is cap, how I'm generalizing the whole continent, et cetera, et cetera. All right? We got 30 seconds for you, brother. 30 seconds. We waiting for him, y'all. Come on. Come on, bro. We rooting for you. Don't embarrass yourself on here, brother. Come on, man. Don't embarrass yourself. You had a lot to say. Say it to my face, man to man. And really, we not if and you got to be. See, guys, we have to be careful of people like this, because if this person can't even come onto a live stream and prove their point, then we know in real life this may not even be a real human. How can you as a man come to me and have an issue with what I'm saying, but you won't even say something to my face over the internet? This is horrifying. And see, these are the type of bugs and petty panini creatures, roaches, dusty Cretan creatures that go to Africa unhealed or travel and go to different countries, or they're ready to finally find their wife and they haven't done any self work. And a woman does not respect them. And they're questioning, why does my woman respect me? Well, you didn't put in any self work. You're a dusty Cretan creature and we can all see it. We're waiting for you to call in and you are not calling in. Sad. Sad and pathetic, man. Wow. I would hate to be you, brother. I would hate to be you. All right, y'all. Well, now that the petty panini peasant didn't call in, we have to go into our next topic. I'm really happy that the stream is still up and running. As I said, these will usually be on Patreon. Now, the next reason that you will hate Africa is because of this. It's because of this. What the hell is this? Now, guys, Africa is a beautiful continent, right? Every single country I went to in Africa, which is a lot, they all have these beautiful big cities, right? But then there's certain parts of Africa and you're thinking to yourself, why do you have this nice city right here, but this all these other cities look like this? Now, of course, you have some cities that look really nice, right? But they still need some infrastructural work. But why is some of the infrastructure so messed up? This is another way that the corruption happens, because what these corrupt leaders do is they mismanage the funds they're receiving from the taxpayers, and it doesn't go back into the people. Can you guys imagine if America did this to us? We wouldn't even be paying taxes no more. Like imagine going to a restaurant, they talking about, oh, you got to pay a tax. A tax for? Oh, you have to pay for your ID for? Why am I paying for this if you're not doing anything? The roads are messed up. I'm gonna tell you guys the truth, guys. I'm gonna tell you guys the truth. And as you guys know, I'm raw and real on this channel. This isn't to offend any Africans, but it does need to be said. As we know, I'm pro-Africa and I'm also pro-Black American, but overall, I'm pro-rawness and pro-realness. What do I mean by raw and real? It means by living a very raw lifestyle, as close to organic and as close to your biology as you're supposed to be living. And real, meaning that I can see things from both points of views and I can accept the real and raw truth of the world. Okay. And sometimes the real truth is very hard to swallow, but at the end of the day, it is the truth. It is the truth. It's like a Popeye's biscuit. It tastes good, but you know it's going to be hard to swallow. Pause. But you still got to take it. Pause. All right. Anyways, the truth is that I'll say that most African countries I've been to, and this isn't all, right? But most African countries I've been to, they have nice big cities with beautiful skylines and just nice skyscraper buildings and stuff. And it's like, I'll say that those kind of cities are like maybe 20% of their country. Then you have another portion of their country that like kind of looks like the projects, but then they also have some nice buildings mixed up inside of it. That makes up maybe, I'd say, 30%, right? 30%. But then for an overwhelming majority, the 50%, which, I'll say 51%. I know we out of percentages, huh? I know we already said 20%, and then 30%. Okay. But 50% of the country remaining looks like this. It's crazy. Now, like I said, this isn't all African countries, but it's a lot of them. It's a lot of them. I think to myself, how can you let people live like this? And you know what, guys? My heart really goes out to African people because, man, I'm not gonna lie to you. If my government did me like this, boy, I mean, wow. I mean, what the hell is this? Do we deserve to live like this as humans? You telling me right now, I'm gonna be real with you guys. I'm gonna be real with you guys. Let me tell you guys what you can get with one G Wagon. You sell that G Wagon back, you can take this whole little town right here, break all this shit down, let the people inside of the places help out, get a whole bunch of bricks, make a huge building. It doesn't have to be multi-layer building, right? Like multiple floors. Just a huge one-story building, and have everybody live inside of there, separated with like little wooden doors and stuff, and give people a more decent way of living. This is ridiculous. Like they just throw their trash there. There's offspring that are living in here. There's young people living in here. But even more than that, there's people that never got a chance to live a life that's worth living. And they, unfortunately, since their government is so evil, they also have to live in these places. It's not right. It's not right. So that's the third thing that's going to throw you guys off about Africa when you guys go there. You guys are going to see this in a lot of continents and a lot of different countries. But I've seen this a lot in Africa. It's just ridiculous, bro. It's 2025, man. How can any government official have 10 Mercedes Benzes and 10 properties and 5 escorts that they chill with and have for their doings and their people live like this? It sounds to me, this is what it sounds to me, guys. This is what Africa sounds to me. Let me tell you guys this. It sounds to me that at this point, this person that you guys call your government official that's letting you guys live like this, it sounds like you guys may call him your people, but it doesn't seem like he views you as his people. Therefore, the only thing that you can do with somebody that hoards all the wealth is the only thing that you can do. And I'll leave it at that. See, that was a tongue twister right there, and only the ones with high IQs will understand. But the only thing that you can do is what you can do. Because if somebody doesn't view you as their people, but yet you're paying a government or paying a tax, or they're giving you a horrible way of life, and you're thinking to yourself, well, this person is, there are people. Yet the invaders didn't even do y'all this bad. I mean, goddamn, it's 2025. It takes one Mercedes G-Wagon to fix this whole little hellhole right here. One. Yet they won't even do that for you. And I'll leave that at that. Next on the list, for the 5 reasons that you will not like Africa: tribalism, FBA, and scammers. These are the most hated in Africa. These are the most hated. Now, I know some of you guys, right? You're probably thinking, rightfully so, rightfully so. It makes sense, right? Somebody that's scamming and doing this stuff like that, it's messed up, it's evil. But you have to remember, you're a product of your environment. I'll leave that one to that. But you think to yourself, something that really gets to me is when I was traveling around Africa, right? The hatred that they have for Nigerians in many of these African countries is so disgusting. I mean, I'm like, is every Nigerian a scammer? Oh my goodness. Like, is every single Nigerian guy a scammer and cheater? Like, on one end, the dudes are constantly complaining to me, telling me, oh, Nigerians are all scammers. Nigerians are all scammers. Then I have to listen to the women in these African countries telling me Nigerians are all cheaters. All the Nigerian men are cheaters. It's like, oh my goodness, who hurt you? Who hurt you? Breathe. Relax. Who hurt you people? Like, I mean, to say everybody is like this in one country is so messed up. Because I know my Nigerian brothers, unfortunately, is out there scamming. I know this for a fact. There is a lot of Nigerian scammers. But have you guys ever really been to Nigeria and seen the great Nigerian people? To see what they've done in their communities, to see how they bring up the revolutions against certain corrupt things that are happening inside of their societies. Have you guys ever seen the anti-corruption Nigerians? I've seen them. I've seen the work they put in, and a lot of them are young, and they're putting in a lot of work. And you just think to yourself, it's not all Nigerians that are like this. Then the unfortunate cause too, you have other people as well that say that tribalism, they don't like certain people based off of their tribes. Oh yeah, these people are known for this. Are we serious? Like we're all black. And it's like they're known for this, but is this person that? This is why I haven't posted for such a long time, because I really had to wake up and really learn, relearn, unlearn, and gain some knowledge. But we were raised that the white man is the devil, right? Yet when I see a lot of these white people as I travel around the world, they're very welcoming to me. They're inviting, they're respectful. And in some cases, they put me onto some real money. How can I look at people like this and say, damn, you're a white devil just because all of them are like this? That's crazy. So to see that the Africans have took this under their wing, took this disgusting ideology and took it under their wing. Oh, I don't like this person based off of their tribe. Like when I was in Kenya, a lot of the Kenyan women and dudes would tell me, oh, watch out for the Kikuyu women. Kikuyu women, they're gold diggers. They're the ones that are the most, for the streets, all this stuff. Man, I met some good Kikuyu women though. So I'm thinking to myself in the back of my mind, I'm like, damn, so you telling me she a gold digger? Oh man, she for the streets? Damn. So you telling me okay, so she a Kikuyu, but she for the streets. Ah, damn. Okay. Sometimes you can see it on them, right? Sometimes you can see it like, okay, she out here in the club every night. It doesn't sound like a win for me. So you think to yourself, okay, fine. This Kikuyu woman, this one, seems like, yes, she might be for the streets, right? But then you see other Kikuyu women and you're like, what? She's a nice woman, man. She's a nice woman. How can we say that they're all, messed up and they're all like this and that? That's so messed up. Not all Kikuyu women are for the streets and not all of them are this and that. Right? Dan says whites are tribal too. You know the good thing about white people though? This is one thing I like about white people. It's white first. Whatever way that you may feel that they're tribalist to each other and they might not like each other and trailer park this and that, I'll tell you who they're not going to take above a trailer park kind of white person. You. That's what I like about them. They want to be at top by any means. I like that. I can respect it. But you know what I can respect even more than that? Is just people that view people as who they are and not based on where they come from or what this person that was their father or their mother is known for. I like people like that. Those are the white people I really respect the most. Ones that don't judge people based on their background or the environment they were raised in. Ones that actually give you a chance at a job and say, you know what, let me hire you, man. I think you could be a good person to work, to work for me. All this stuff like that, I can appreciate those kind of white people, man. I can appreciate them. They're the best of the world. Seriously. And I'll say this as well as the Africans and black people as well, that when they view somebody, they don't judge somebody based off of, their history, excuse me, not their history, but based off of where they come from or their environment. They base them based off of themselves. Now, if your history is like, If you've been, doing some crazy stuff in your past, yeah, that can be a good dictation to understand how your future is going to be, right? This is science, this is numbers at this point. But when it comes to somebody being judged based on their environment or just because they're raised up in the hood or they have a certain kind of vernacular, but at the same time they're a great worker, but you're not going to hire them because of vernacular, that's not right. It's not right. Okay. So, yeah, what the hell? And also, most hated. All right. This is where we really at. Most hated in Africa. All right. Y'all see what I tried to do there, right? I tried to act like I didn't just click on the wrong frame. Oopsie. All right. So, guys, the last one on this list right here is for the most hated in Africa, I'd say is the FBA hate. Now, this is online, right? This is mainly online for these online internet trolls and stuff. I don't think any of these people are real, all this stuff like that. As we can see, none of them called in today. They're just talking the talk. And I really don't believe they're even real humans. And even if they were in front of my face, I would have to think, is this a hologram? Like, should I really like punch you in your face? Because if I do, will I go through you? Because you're not real. Like, I just can't tell anymore because I know that the powers that be have this extreme lustful agenda for making us black people at odds with each other. So I'm constantly thinking, are you really real? I don't know. You didn't call in. That's a little bit odd. I mean, it is only online. You can't even face me online. What the? That's kind of weird. No. I just feel like if I call them on the phone or if one of them call me right now on the live stream, I feel like they'll be like, I just feel like you black Americans, the reason, 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 and they're glitching out. And I just feel like that's why they can't call. I'm serious too. I really believe this. The FBA hate online, I feel like is so forced. Like it's just kind of dumb. Because you think to yourself, how can Africans not be happy to see black Americans that are pushing towards something that's important to them? We have to remember that the black Americans, for the majority that are in America, they were forced here and they had the worst happen to them. And we have to keep in mind that all the trauma and everything and the beatings that's happened to black Americans, still they fought through and now they're pushing for reparations. How can we be mad at that? And you think to yourself, if you're an African person that's mad at a foundational black American, well, you're a part of the problem and you're no better than an oppressor. Because in reality, black people getting reparations benefits Africa as much as it benefits black Americans. If you guys want to know what happens once black Americans get reparations, 1/5 of the black Americans immediately are going to leave America because most black Americans understand that once that happens, of course, there's going to be a lot of scrutiny. There's going to be a lot of other races that are going to have some jealousy towards black Americans, and they already hate us now. They're going to really want us out then. There's going to be um, a whole civil war. Like, it's a lot of stuff's going to pop off. And truthfully, the next place that black Americans would think to go is, well, of course, Africa. They just wouldn't know where, right? A lot of them will go to Ghana. They'll go to different countries. I won't mention too much on this public platform, right? But a lot of them will move around and they'll go to these different countries. And this, let's say a black American gets, let's say, and this wouldn't even be a good amount, but just to give the basics, let's just say they get 200,000 USD, right? For one black American. They get this money. Foundational Black American gets the 200,000. They go to this African country. Immediately, your country will start booming overnight. This is a fact. This is not a theory. This is not a hypothesis. This is a fact. 100% fact. Your country will immediately start booming because having this many Black Americans going to Africa, and you're lucky as an African that Black Americans still, for some of them, look at Africans as still their own people. For instance, all the black people that are going to Africa now without reparations, but that are getting uh, finessed by the African governments or the African people, even after all that, these black Americans will still consider you a brother or sister, even though that they're having a whole bunch of corruption, they're trying to do right inside of that country. They still view you as a brother and sister. So a lot of these Black Americans, they're generous with money too. They look at the youth, they look at the men and the women, and they say, these are our people. Let's share the bread. Let's share the wealth. But unfortunately, what happens right now, a lot of them become extremely greedy, and then they start doing weird things, trying to ask for more money. It just gets really tricky, right? But the fact of the matter is, 200,000 in a foundational Black American's pockets, and he goes to Africa with that money. He can do a lot. She can do a lot. Imagine that one person brings their whole family to that African country. Do you know overnight it would be millions and millions of dollars circulating through Africa? Because most likely, since Black Americans are already so fully integrated with each other when it comes to support Black businesses, Black first movements, all these kind of movements and stuff, they're already going to be wanting to shop Black, especially if they're foundational Black Americans that really understand what's going on. They're really going to want to do that. So there's a lot of benefits in it for the African people, seriously, guys. So for anybody that's having these issues where, oh, Black Americans, you guys are just dumb, you know, you were an African person, we're going to talk smack about you. It's kind of like, how can you even say that? How can you not be happy for people that your people, not you specifically as an African person, but your people in history threw these Black Americans to slave ships, brought them over to America for inhumane treatment, the worst possible thing. Like, imagine the worst possible thing that can happen to your African mother as an African man. If you're an African man listening, think about the worst thing that can happen to your African mother. Now, times that by 10, then times that by 100. That's what happened to Black American women and men inside of America. So, for them to actually be doing better now, and you're saying, oh, you know, F you guys, F you guys. Well, that kind of sounds like either you're jealous or you might have some type of instability amongst yourself. This is serious. Because how can you be mad at somebody that got out? I would be happy if an African person, like right now, what's going on inside of certain parts of African countries, I'm happy. I'm happy seeing African people fight against their oppressors. And the oppressors aren't always white people. I'm happy seeing them going up against corrupt leaders. I'm happy for them. And I can only encourage them to do better. Who knows how much money I've donated over the years to seeing the African brothers and sisters pushing their goals? Who knows? But you should know that I'm happy to see this. So if you're not happy to see Black Americans fighting the right cause, then maybe you are one of the oppressors and you should be treated as such. Like I told all of you brothers and sisters listening, it's not always just white people. That's what I had to make terms with. We are in a new day and age where now we're looking for team intelligence, people that can use a non-manipulated brain to view others, right? It's basically, right, you have an intelligent person, you have to be that to be team intelligence, but you also need to see from two different sides of the story. This is signs that you actually are, you know, pretty bright or you're pretty intelligent. You have to see the plight of a Black man, and then you have to also see, you know, why what this person is doing might not seem correct. But you have to be able to view both sides. And there's white people that can do this. This is why I say to myself, I'm like, you know what? The fact that there's some white people that actually push for Black people to get reparations because they say that this is the only right way, we've done inhumane things to them. I say to myself, these people are actual humans. I can't call this person a white devil. Look at how human they are. This has nothing to do with the devil. But you know who I could call a devil is you, the African man that says that a Black man shouldn't fight hard for reparations, given that this is money that was legitimately owed, to Black Americans. And you don't encourage that? Well, I'd say that you are the devil yourself as an African man or woman. So I think I've said enough on this topic. We have to go into the next part of our video. I see somebody named Washida Shahid. There are 54 nations on the continent of Africa. Africa is 11 times the size of the United States. The population of Africa is 1.3 billion people. It is therefore impossible to generalize about. Yikes. So guys, damn. And unfortunately, right, I wasn't able to create a petty panini peasant for the women. But guys, right here, we have a dusty Cretan creature. Okay. Now Washida, her name even sound like some type of like creature kind of sound like Wahida Shanita. Like what that type of what? Man, listen. Dusty Cretan creature. I'm going to drop the link for the call in of the video for you to call in. I'm hoping that you have more balls than the other guy, but we'll see. Are you a woman or a man? What is this? A potato? I can't see what you are, sir, ma'am. So I'm gonna call you sir, ma'am, for now, just because I'm not able to tell. Uh, what the heck? What is this? Anyways, yeah, let me drop the link so you can call in with Sheeta Bonita, and we're gonna get to you. So yeah, go ahead and drop this in here. Boom. Now I'm expecting you to call in, okay? I'm expecting you to call in with that. Don't be scared. I don't bite, but we do need to talk about what you just said. There are 54 nations on the continent of Africa. Africa is 11 times the size of the United States. I don't even know why they're saying all this. The population of Africa is about 1.3 billion people. It is therefore impossible to generalize about. Okay. I'm happy you said this. I really am. See, the next steps is just to call into the show, okay? Ratch says still getting played used American women. Okay, so is that an American woman, I'm guessing? Pan-Africanism is one-sided, says Ratch. Rach, that's the name, Rach. Let me see. The men use women. Oh shoot, I can't put that up on the screen. Single women going Africa thinking they're gonna agar feminist rights. They will learn there's no feminism in Africa. Oh man, yeah, they will learn that, Rach. You're right about that. Because man, when it comes to femininity, the African women are up there. Uh, Let me see. Shin Mir Ah says, looks like FBA does mesh well with Africa's present day academics. Many have did studies in the West, though. True. Dan says, okay, another dusty Cretan creature. And I'm allowing you guys to call up, but for some reason, this is how cowards work. They just never call up. Like, bro, no need to throw insults, Dan says. Can't expect everyone to agree with you. Now, am I insulting these people if this is what they are? I truly believe that these people that are saying this stuff are not real humans. I believe that they're dusty Cretan creatures or they're dirty paninis. Like, wait, what was the other one? They're dirty, they're dirty, petty panini peasants. This is how I really feel about them. They comment things just like yourself. Give me attention, give me attention. You get the attention. I say, call into the show. You guys don't call in. So yeah, I have to call you guys what you are. You're an attention-seeking demon. Because your mom, I don't know if she didn't play with you enough when you were a kid, or, I don't know. Like, I don't know if you're lacking a father, or I don't know what's happening. But one thing I do know is that you're a dusty Cretan creature. Please give me money. I just know that's you. You're in your feelings for no reason. We're talking about pushing successful melanin relationships, and here you fools are on my channel talking about, oh, you can't expect everyone to agree with you. Oh, you can't expect this, and this mean to say because you're generalizing Africa. Are you dumb? Do you know that most African countries are damn near exactly the same? How do you know? Like, I don't know if you guys just haven't been to Africa. That's the problem. I've been all around Africa. That's the difference. A lot of the people in Africa are very, very, very similar. A lot of countries are very, very, very similar. Very. The only country in Africa I would say is like damn near night and day is like South Africa. South Africa is like, it feels like you're damn near in America. Seriously. They've done a lot in South Africa, seriously. But most of these African countries, you can generalize them. It doesn't mean that generalizing doesn't even mean it's a fact about each country. It just means that to simplify your case study, you instead of specifically saying each and every single country, because we don't have all year to talk, you kind of generalize it to, okay, this is the basics of what's going on. For anybody that doesn't know how generalizations work, it just means this is a decent sized case study of what's happening, right? So Gustav oh gosh, AI pimp name white mother-in-law FBA is okay. Would you like to call in? I don't even know if you want to call in. I guess I don't even. Okay, jeez, Louise. Uh, Dan says I didn't disagree with what you said. Relax. I was just saying no need for. Listen, Dan, it's not about you disagreeing or agreeing. Just call in. That's what we're asking. You keep texting like a little biot. I just need you to call in. That's what I'm asking for. This is a very simple task. Just call in. Look. This dude, man, Dan, you are such a petty loser, brother. It's like it's sad too because you're thinking to yourself, what is wrong with you? Call into the show. Why are you texting me? I hate dudes that text like, oh, I'm gonna tell you guys something. I don't think I can't say this. I can't say this shit. I can't say this shit. This has to go for my Patreon supporters. Patreon.com/Traveltriberaw. Patreon.com/Traveltriberaw. That's I don't know if I can tell you guys this story though. It was a bad situation, guys. It was a bad situation. And you guys are gonna be like, man, you shouldn't do stuff like that. It had to be done. Just off manhood, it had to be done. It had to be done. There was this dude that was texting and just text me all this stuff. And I did something kind of ghetto to this brother because I it had to be done. Like the stuff he was saying was just so bold. And sometimes you just gotta stand on principle, man. Sometimes some people gotta have it, man. Some people gotta have it. Some people gotta have it. Sometimes you have to do people bad. Sometimes that's just how it comes down to, you know. It's sad, Dan. Call in, brother. Like, I mean, how can you live with yourself, man? You're a grown man commenting. Like you're saying negative things, but you can't back it up on an actual call. Call in. Call in. It's like stop self-projecting your look. He comes back and look at him using these feminine emojis too. Isn't that sad, guys? While I'm living a great life traveling all around the world, we have this guy named Dan. And it's just like, what? Dan? Like, is that your whole name? Like, just Dan? Hi, I'm Dan. Like, what? It's kind of sad because you know that this person they're talking about projecting childhood because they have both parents, but how much could your parents have really loved you? I mean, they gave you a 3-letter name. Your name is Dan, bud. Like, they didn't put any thought into your life, into your name. And this just shows why now, I don't know how old you are, but you're here in the comments just texting away using feminine emojis. It's sad. But unfortunately, we've given you guys all, whether it comes to Rashida Bonita and Dan, the unplanned. We've given you guys about 5 minutes now to call it. There he goes again with the feminine emoji. It's crazy. He just keep going. He thinks it's a joke too. It's kind of disgusting, bro. I know you might laugh and you think this funny. It's kind of sad, brother. I'm not gonna lie. It's just a bit sad, because I'm thinking to myself, like, you know, I don't know if your parents might have gave you the R. Kelly treatment and that's why you're acting like this, but there's something off about you, bud. There's something off about you, I'm telling you. And if you're black, I definitely, or if you're any race, I definitely wish you peace in your life, man. I definitely wish you peace because you have some really odd issues, okay? You might need help. Dan, are you listening? Anyways, well, guys, we've reached the fourth topic on the subject at hand. We talked about how certain American cultures and traditions need to just stay in America. We talked about these demonic and extremely corrupt African governments. We've talked about what the hell is going on in Africa, the infrastructure being poorly managed because the corrupt government is taking all the money and not giving their people anything. We've talked about the most hated people in Africa, which are the scammers, which is understandable, but we have to remember not all of them are scammers. The FBA, you have to think, how is an African person mad that a black man's trying to get reparations? And then the tribalism is just kind of like, are you just mad? Are you just trying to find something to be mad about? It's kind of like, why? That's like what women do. Like they just kind of find random things. I remember one day I was dealing with this one shorty, and the whole day she was just sad and upset. And I was like, what's wrong with you? Like, tell me what's going on. And she's like, no, no, it's nothing. It's just, I was like, it's just what? It's just nothing. Just, I had to ask her like that day at least 20 times. I don't really do stuff like this no more, but this back in the day. And I asked her like 20 times the other day, what's wrong? Just tell me what's wrong. Just tell me what's wrong. And she was like, it's just because, I mean, you put the pillow that I usually lay on your side of the couch, and when we were watching a movie, and I just feel like you're forgetting about me. Like you just like it's like you just don't care about me. And I'm like, what the hell? So that's kind of how tribalism feels. It's kind of like it's forced. Like, I mean, if anything, you need to unify and come together in some ways. But, the truth about everything, guys, is that most people aren't going to come together in this life. This is a fact. This is a fact. But, and I know that this isn't going to ever happen, but I do look at things and I say to myself, you know what? Maybe we can't all come together, but maybe we can at least not talk ill about others, especially because this doesn't reflect the overwhelming majority of these people. For instance, with that one fool that went into an African country recently, he made us black men not look the best. Now we have a lot of these Africans talking about how black men are the problem, how they're the enemy. You think to yourself, well, and this is only online, by the way. My sources in Africa all love American people, but online, you have these fools that are not even real humans and they have their issues. But you know, let's not talk ill about one another, right? We're all trying to achieve greatness in our own way. And one thing I like about team intelligence, or just people that are on the side of, intelligence, they accept biology, they accept the past, and they understand history, and they say, you know what? We may have some differences, but I want to see you do well in life. And, I also want to see you do well in life. We have some differences, but we can still be strong if we all push to the same goal in a way, right? Now, we're not all going to agree on every single thing, but we don't have to talk ill about one another, right? So I'll just leave that one at that. It's just rather unfortunate. Now, the last topic on the reasons that you will not like Africa, okay? The last topic, since unfortunately we didn't have the goofies call in, so sad. I was really looking forward to it. But the last issue that we have is this: scamming and women selling it. Now, you can do what you will with that information. Women selling it. I won't say too much on this platform, but if you use your context clues, I know the smart people in here that aren't being petty panini panderers, I know that they'll understand what I'm saying, right? Now, the thing is this: we have an influx in Africa and all the countries I've been to. And this is why generalizing is important, because there's no way that you guys would sit through a 1 year video of me explaining every single thing I've seen in Africa, right? And go down specifically through each country. Now, if you guys were all willing to, maybe, pay $50,000, I can sit down for the entire year. I think we have a good percentage of people inside of the video right now that's watching. If all of you guys came together and put $50,000 each, I would actually sit in front of my camera for one entire year and just constantly talk about what's going on inside of Africa, breaking every single country down, each interaction, show every document, every single paperwork. But that's crazy, right? Because even me, if I'm a watcher, I'm not going to pay $50,000 to just watch and you just talk for one whole year straight. I have to go to work, I have to go to school, I have things to do. So this is why we generalize, right? This is why we generalize. Doesn't mean that everybody's inside of this category, what I'm about to say, but there is an influx of scammers and women selling it inside of Africa. And this is another reason you will not like Africa, okay? It's another reason you will not like Africa. Let me sit up a little bit for this one. Now, let's talk about scamming and women selling it in Africa, right? You can't even be that mad at them because while not everyone does this in Africa, there is a saying, eat or be eaten. Now, unfortunately, since the government has stolen so much from the people inside these African countries, now you do realize that there is a nice percentage of African people that live really lavish lives. And this is without scamming, this is without the women selling it. They just live great lives because they work hard. Maybe they had some great connections. Maybe their parents actually planned them and they knew that before having this offspring, I need to make sure this is a planned, you know, the legacy. I don't just jump into it like the American people. A lot of times, what they do, they just, and Africans, they do this as well. But, you know, they just, oh, I'm bored at home. I think I'm ready to get pregnant, the women say. And then the man says, I think this woman wants me to go all up in her. And then the dude just does the juice and turns into an offspring, and boom, there we have it. So we do have some actual planners in Africa that plan for everything, and they say, you know what, let's do things right. Let's get married first. Let's do the honeymoon. Let's then have our offspring after that so we can build and conquer our legacy. But unfortunately, right, there's a lot of people that don't get this. Planned parents that make sure that their child has all the necessities and resources they need for a great life that's worth living. We also see that there's not a lot of people that can even get the certain opportunity that's offered after they go to school and they go to their college. So eat or be eaten is a saying that is said that if you're not going to find a way to live the life that you're supposed to be living, then others will. And others will do whatever they have to do to live that life that's worth living. Now, since Africans, for the overwhelming majority of them, to me, they're such good people. Because I mean, personally, the way I see it, there's no way that if you take all the natural resources from the country, the government has all the money, yet they don't even need all that money because they're just buying Mercedes Benzes and buying 10 properties around their country. You think to yourself that, damn, this person is just being evil to be evil. Scientifically, all Africans should be scammers and all the women should be selling it. This is how the science would break it down, because you strip them from everything. And some would even wager a lot of times the only reason they've been so friendly is maybe because they have a God, maybe because they actually have morals. But the science behind pushing people to their limits is supposed to be all out chaos. But the African people are so grounded that they aren't like that. So what goes on is that we see that a lot of them, not all of them, not even the majority of Africans, but there is a nice pool of women and that are selling it, and a lot of men that are doing scamming. And this isn't just specifically in Nigeria. Now, I want you guys to think to yourself this: when your God and government forgets you, what do you do? I want you guys to answer this inside the comments, so you guys can call in right now. Okay? I want you guys to answer this in the comments, or I want you guys to call in right now. What would you do? Your God and your government has forgot you, has abandoned you, and has let you fend for yourself to find any way to make money. What do you do? Now, your government's not providing enough opportunities for you. Your God isn't paving a way for you. So what do? I'm curious to know. Let's look at the comments real quick. Gustav says, do not call in the house Negro pimp. Don't give a hoot about the incoming race war, paid chaos agent fraud. Tariq, he says Tariq is a pimp, a divide and conquer chaos agent, and pro max. You didn't give a hoot about Black Americans. Okay, you guys can say what you want to say about these other folks. I guess it doesn't really concern me. I mean, Tariq's done some good things in LA. I'll give him that. Um, Shin Mir says, in those poor tin roof housing in Africa, do alcohol and tobacco companies advertise with big billboards or street corner signs? That's a really good question. You know what? They don't really advertise like that, but if you just walk down the street, there's going to be some wooden little store and they're going to be selling like cigarettes and alcohol. So, it's like, they're still there. It's going to be some cheap alcohol too. Wow, this dude is obsessed with Tariq Nasheed. Jeez. He says in the comments, Tariq is a paid chaos agent, a divide and conquer. Wow, you said this already, bro. Do you want to call in and maybe express your concerns or like what's going on here? I mean, it seems like nobody really wants to call in if they have strong stances, but let me see. Okay. Woman on the left looks like a child, a mommy. I guess FBA should bag them and go his way. Okay. So I see a few people are getting off the topic. The question to you guys is this. When your God and government forgets you, what do you do? We're trying to figure out, what do you guys expect from the men and women inside of Africa? Because a lot of them, they're not scamming and the women aren't selling it. But there is a nice portion of women and men that do this stuff. So I'm curious, what would you do? If your God and your government forgets you, what do you do? I'm curious. We're going to wait till the comments come in. We're not moving on till we hear. Hopefully from some Americans. What would you guys do? Or Europeans, what would you guys do? Because see, in America, we talk a lot of shit about this government. But one thing we can't say is that they don't give us at least the waste. They give us their waste. Like the toilet tissue they use to wipe themselves. They give us that at least. In Africa, their governments don't give them that. And God for sure isn't going to fix up this type of neighborhood. Right? It's been years. Look at this. Look at how they're living. Now, of course, this is in all African countries, but there's certain parts of every African country that I've been to that has these places. So what would you as an American man do to ensure your family has food, that you have clothes, that you can provide for yourself? Now, for a lot of people, this is a tough question, because you've never thought to yourself, well, damn, I mean, what would I do if I lived in such utter filth and if my government didn't have any kind of services or anything? Most of you people here would think, oh, I'll just go to a homeless shelter. I'll go to maybe, ask for, food stamps, Section 8. We have different programs that assist Americans when we're in need, right? But then you have these disgusting, corrupt African lunatic governments that they'll make sure you don't eat anything. They will have you starve with no resources for you, nothing at all. And guess what? You still need to pay these taxes. So what do you do? Most people don't even have the answer to that. So, like I said, we can't exactly blame the men and women in these countries for doing what they're doing. The problem for me is a lot of times when we see African women selling it, you guys know what it means. When we see African women doing things that they probably not supposed to be doing, when we see them doing these things, a lot of times that money that they're making goes into their outfits. It goes into maybe they're, taking trips. They want to buy the actual name brand Gucci and Pradas, and they want to take trips and do all this stuff, buy all this makeup. But, a lot of times that money's not going back to their family. They give their family the bare minimum. A lot of times we see the men are scamming, but that money is not going back to their family or going back to take care of their offspring that they've had with multiple women in that African country, being irresponsible. It's not going back to them. See, so this is my biggest issue with scamming and women selling it, is that there's no actual goal. Where's the morality? It was once said, a Robin Hood, people didn't really get upset at that kind of person. Oh, he's scamming and she's doing bad stuff. But at the end of the day, she's doing it, he's doing it because they're putting on for their family. And now there is a few people that scam and do this stuff and sell themselves. They do it for, what some people will call the right reasons. Now, I'm not agreeing with this, stuff, but I'm just saying some would say that, oh, they're doing this for a decent cause. But as it pertains to most of them, they scam, or the women, they sell themselves uh, in marketing. I messed up a little bit, y'all. I kind of messed up a little bit. I wasn't supposed to say that word on here, so I'm trying to play it off. They sell themselves in marketing. To be a good marketer, you have to sell yourself, right? So, anyways, let's get back to the topic. I know that sounded weird. We're just going to talk about it. But a lot of women, when they sell it, you guys know what it means. Meow, meow. A lot of women, when they do these things, the money's not going back into the household. It's not. It's not. And it just shows that, you're doing these things, but it's not even for the right reasons. You're doing these things to not, it's like they forget. Now that you've gotten this stuff, you forget about all your people, which makes you no better than the oppressors and your government. I thought the goal when you first started scamming, and the goal as an African woman when you first started selling it, I thought the goal was to get out of the situation you're in. I thought the goal was to move your mom out of the ghetto. I thought your goal was to, get your child and move him out of the projects and give your family a life that's worth living, because you guys aren't living too good. But we see immediately after they start making this money, they forget. And they immediately become similar to how their government is. They have all this money now, but instead of giving it back to the ones that they are supposed to be caring for, they do irresponsible things with it. And where do they end up? In jail. So these are the 5 reasons that you guys would definitely hate Africa. Okay. Now, there's a lot of good to Africa. We'll be doing a video on that tomorrow. Be a bit shorter than this one, but we'll be doing a video on that tomorrow. And yeah, I see Tig A says the ghetto. Yep. A lot of them are not living in ways that they would like to live. Doesn't mean all of them are. There's a lot of African people living great. There's a lot of African people living in their means, a lot of African people that are happy with their life. But there is also a nice percentage of Africans that also they, might take certain chances, and they forget about what was the whole point of taking that chance in the first place, Dan, I'm not reading your comments, man. You just wasting my time. You should have called in. You've been a man. Anyways, so guys, we're going to recap everything. These videos are usually on Patreon. The full live streams are usually on Patreon, patreon.com/Traveltriberaw. I will tell you guys this. We're going to do some more topics. This is outside of the 5 reasons that you will hate Africa. We're going to be doing some more topics. We have passport sisters and the passport bros that are the opposite of Black people that they never seem to talk about. We have possibly taking a trip to Colombia soon. Not for the reasons a lot of people go, like for the women, mainly for, a better understanding of the culture and the people. I think it would be good to see a Black man operating inside of something that looks more healthy. And the last subject we have as well is on Ibrahim Traore. There's alleged statements that he doesn't want Americans to come inside of America. We're going to talk about that right after we talk about this. So the live stream will still be going. But when you guys see the replay on this, it will only show the 5 reasons you will hate Africa. Let's do a quick recap, though, before we get into the next subjects. The first reason that you will hate Africa is because you're